Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. A few months ago, I made a video teaching lower ranked players how to beat higher ranked players when they are getting a spot. In this case, I'm going to be talking in reverse. You're the stronger player and you're playing the weaker player. But even if you are a relative beginner or intermediate player, low intermediate player, you should watch this because you're going to pick up some tips that are going to help you beat the higher ranked player. In the meantime, we're going to talk to the higher ranked player about beating the lower ranked player when you have to give up weight. So let's get started. Maybe it's a race to 10 and you're spotting them 3 games, 5 games, 6 games, whatever the case. Maybe it's league night and you need to win 5 games. The person you're playing only needs to win 3. That's what we're talking about today. I don't know if a lot of you saw the video. There was a APA National where an APA 2 was playing an APA 9 in 9-ball in order to win the championship for their team. The APA 2 needed to get 18 points and the APA 9 needed to get about 75 points. Again, here are the real numbers. Now, in full disclosure, I did not watch much of this match. I find it very painful watching these matches on YouTube. I'm sorry. If I'm going to spend an hour and a half watching something, I'm going to watch Shane versus Federer. I'm not going to watch Jane versus Joe Schmo. It's just not a good use of your time. But I did watch enough of it that I feel that I can speak intelligently for the most part about what went on and why it happened. They're playing for the Nationals. The APA 2 has to beat the APA 9. She has to get 18 points. Those of you that don't know how APA 9 ball is scored, each ball counts as 1 point and then the 9 ball counts as 2. So you play until X number of points have been reached by whichever player. So the 2 needs 18 balls out of all the racks and the 9 needed something in the area of 75. The true numbers are up here. I'll research them after I make this video. This was a tremendous spot, by the way, and that's rule number 1. If the spot is outrageous, 18 to 75, stay away from it, okay? Anything can happen when someone only needs to make 18 balls and you need to make 75. Anything can happen if you're in a race to 10 and you spot somebody 6 games because they're an APA 2 or an APA 3. Don't give up ridiculous spots. Don't let your ego get involved. I've been there. I've given people insane spots. Let's play a race to 10. I'm going to give you 7. This is craziness, okay? Don't do it because bad things happen on pool tables, and a part of this game, a good part of it, depending on the game you're playing and where you're playing, is luck. So, number 1, stop giving up ridiculous spots. Number 2, be aware of the equipment you're playing on. If you're playing on a 7-foot table, don't play on neutralizer equipment. That's not just the size of the table, but the quality of the table. Tables that are of bad quality. People say, well, we're all playing on the same equipment. No, you're not. If you're a weak player and you're playing on bad equipment, it does not affect you the same way it does advanced players, because a big part of the game of the advanced player is knowing where the ball should go. So if the table is off level and is pulling to one side and is going to affect both players when they shoot a ball, the person that is playing the precise position is the one that is hurt by it more. So yes, you're on the same box, but it has a totally different outcome for you. If the position play that normally benefits you is now diluted, you are losing ground. Number 3, the rules. If you're giving up a spot, make the rules as tight as you can. If you are giving up a spot, get on the best quality, largest table as you can. Even if you're not a big table player, even if you're a bar box guy, if you're giving up a spot, try to get the game on a larger table, even though it's not what you're accustomed to, because you are giving up weight just by changing the equipment. Don't hold back. You gotta stop holding back, guys. If you are playing a little kid or an old lady, you are in a no-win situation. you are either going to lose to them and you lost to the little kid or the old lady, and I'm sorry ladies, okay, an old man, or you're going to be the guy that beat the little kid or the old lady. I'm going to take the beat the little kid and the old lady. You are already giving up a spot. That is the nature of the video. Don't give up an additional spot by being oversympathetic to your competition. I'm sorry, if you're in this game to make friends, none of this applies to you anyway. Go ahead and lose to everybody. Everybody will love you. But in the meantime, if you're in this game to win for yourself and for your team and whoever else, then you have to be a little bit cold-blooded. And it's not even cold-blooded if you are giving up a spot already. If you're giving up a spot at all, you need to get out of the blocks quickly and you need to use everything that you have at your disposal. Next, don't fall for the David and Goliath analogy. I watched all of 5 minutes of the video I was referencing, 5 minutes of over an hour-long video. I heard this David and Goliath analogy about 5 or 6 times in 5 minutes. It is not David and Goliath if you are giving up a 50-ball spot. But let's talk about David and Goliath for a moment. David and Goliath were a mismatch. You got a guy that's going down as a giant and a guy that's going down as a normal guy, right? Well, there was a difference. David was playing with a different set of rules than Goliath. That is why David won the fight. Because at the time when this took place in history, it was not normal to fight with a slingshot at distance. When people battled, they battled face to face using large swords and large shields. And David said, I'm not playing by those rules. Here's what I'm going to do. David was playing on different equipment than Goliath. That is why David won. So, of these things that I talked about today, you don't have to have all of them in place, but if you're going to give up a spot, have as many of them in place as you can. And if somebody tells you this person is an APA 2, because of the handicap system in the APA, they could be anything from a 2 to a 4. I'm sorry, there's a difference between a Michigan 7 and a New York 7. There's a difference between a Mississippi 5 and a Florida 5. There is a difference, guys. People are playing in different regions where there's different concentrations of talent, where there's different equipment. Some people just simply don't have access to good equipment, and all the handicaps, once you get on the national level, are kind of shaky. So you need to make sure you are up against someone who is truly ranked where they should be. Taking us back to that video. The lady in the video, everybody was rooting for her. Of course, she's a 2, she's playing a 9. She should win and be happy, and even though she's giving up this big spot and she's a nice lady, you can tell she's a nice lady, she does not hold the cue, does not fire a shot, does not play position like a 2. I'm not saying she's sandbagging, but she didn't do anything like a 2. I teach pool for a living. I know what a 2 looks like. She doesn't look like a 2. The team that lost clearly made a strategic mistake by giving up that spot on neutralizer equipment against an unknown, because they don't know this 2 is maybe a 4, possibly. I don't think she was a 4, but she wasn't a 2. Okay? And APA rules, all of these factors against them, they still decided this was the way to play them. Okay? And if the gentleman in the video, and I'm sorry I don't have your name, I don't want to use the names of either one of these people. Those of you that want to watch the video, go ahead and watch it. You'll know their names. But either of those players, if you would like to be interviewed on this channel, please let me know. And I would love to have you on here because I'd like to know what happens behind the scenes. And once again, my disclaimer, the video was I think an hour and 20 minutes long. I watched 5 minutes of it because it does pain me to watch these matches. And I'm not picking on the APA. Most amateur matches where you have weaker players, even some with stronger players, not the best use of my time. So I watched enough that I could intelligently talk about this situation with you guys. Some bonus ideas, particularly for 8-ball players. If you're giving up a spot, if you're spotting games, a couple things you don't want to let happen at the table. Besides the things we already talked about, don't let it turn into a safety battle. Very often, higher ranked players will get bored in a safety battle and you make mistakes that are going to cost you a game. You're playing somebody who hasn't run a rack since Saddam was in Iraq. You get it? Anyway, don't worry about somebody running out who doesn't run out. Open up the table, play it wide open. Also, keep in mind that if you're playing a weaker player and you need to play a safety, you don't need to play a lockdown safety. You can get your balls out of trouble. If you have clusters on the table, go ahead and break up your clusters. You don't need to lock somebody down and they're an APA 3 or even a 4 in many cases. So understand that you don't want the game to be drawn out. You don't want to extend the game. These are the things that I recommended to the lower ranked players to help beat the higher ranked players. Also, you can very often bait lower level players into making mistakes by not playing a safety. Leave someone a long shot, leave them a bank shot, leave them a combination shot, and let them take those shots, because these are shots they probably should not be taking, and they will open up the table for you. And the wider open the table is going to be, the better off you're going to be. Which also means get away from your second ball breaks and things like this that tend to cause clusters on the table and mess up the table. You want as wide open a table as possible if you're the higher ranked player. Guys, have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and tell me in the comments, have you ever been given a spot that worked out for you, or given up a spot that worked out for you or didn't? Just let me know. I'll talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe. Did I say that?